You ever have one of those days where, nothing's specifically wrong, but there's just this heavy fog that settles over everything? It's not just sadness about one thing, it's this deeper feeling that can kind of drain all the color from your world. Well, today we're going to talk about that feeling and, more importantly, a way to find a path through it. It really does start the moment the alarm goes off, doesn't it? Instead of feeling rested, you just feel spent. You've got a whole day in front of you, maybe even good stuff planned, but that spark, that motivation is just gone. This quote from Psych to Go just hits the nail on the head. It's that sense of hopelessness that can greet you the second you open your eyes. And it's a very, very real and draining experience. The psychologist Dr. Ali Matu has this really powerful way of describing it. He calls it a black hole. And it makes perfect sense, right? Just like a real black hole, it has this massive gravitational pull. It sucks away your interest, it drains your motivation, and it makes all the things you used to love feel, well, empty. You can feel totally trapped, like it's warping your view of everything. So, if depression is a black hole that warps reality, then that means it's also a pretty convincing liar. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. It doesn't just make you feel bad. It actively feeds you thoughts that feel 100% true, but are actually twisted. Figuring out how to spot these lies, that's the first step to getting your own perspective back. Just think about it for a second. That little voice in your head, the one that seems to know all of your weak spots, we're about to go through some of its greatest hits, the most common and most damaging lies that depression tells. Let's see if any of these sound familiar to you. Okay, here's the big one, the lie of permanence. Depression gives you what a lot of experts call tunnel vision. It convinces you deep in your bones that how you feel right now is how you're going to feel forever. But the real truth is that feelings just aren't permanent. They can't be. Life shifts, things change, and this feeling, as heavy as it is, it doesn't have to be a life sentence. Oh, this lie is just so cruel. It pushes you into isolation by making you believe your very existence is a problem for the people you love. But as the Channel Therapy in a Nutshell points out, that's just a massive distortion. Think about it. People don't love you for what you do for them. They love you for who you are. The world is genuinely a better place with you in it, even when your own mind is trying to tell you the opposite. And this right here, this completely flips the script on what strength even means. Depression wants you to think that struggling is the same as being weak or failing. But the truth is the total opposite. You're not broken, you're hurting. Real strength isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about looking this huge challenge in the face and being honest about it. That takes an incredible amount of courage. All right, so we've unmasked the lies. Now what? How do we actually fight back? Well, this brings us to an idea that might feel completely backward at first. We all tend to think we need to feel motivated before we can do something. But what if? What if we've had that whole equation wrong this entire time? And here it is, the secret weapon. Action is the spark, not the result. You don't just sit around and wait for motivation to strike you like lightning. No, you take one small, tiny action, and then your brain rewards you with a little hit of dopamine. That's the chemical messenger for motivation. It creates this awesome little feedback loop. Action creates motivation, which then makes the next action just a little bit easier. Let's go back to Dr. Matu's imagery for a sec. If depression is a black hole, then your habits, they're the rocket ship that can get you out. I mean, think about a rocket launch. When it first ignites, it shakes and rumbles, and it feels like it's barely moving. But with that persistent force, it starts to lift, it gains momentum, and boom, it achieves escape velocity. Small, consistent actions, that's your rocket fuel. So how does this actually work, day to day? It's a process that's called building a sense of mastery. Instead of staring at some huge, scary task, you break it down into the smallest possible piece. Not finish the project, but maybe just write the first sentence. Then you do it. And, this part's super important, you actually take a second to acknowledge that you did it. That little win builds the confidence and the momentum you need to take the next tiny step. And look, if even that feels like too much some days, here are some 1-minute actions. The barrier to entry here is basically zero. Seriously, can you just go stand outside for 60 seconds? Or wash a single dish? Send one text. These aren't about fixing everything all at once. They're just about proving to yourself that you can still act. You can still make something happen in the world. Now, all these small actions, they're the rocket fuel, right? But every rocket needs a launch pad, a stable foundation to push off from. So let's zoom out a bit from these immediate actions and talk about the bigger structures that support a healthy life. Jordan Peterson talks about these as foundational pillars. A job or some kind of daily purpose gives you structure. Friends give you connection. An intimate relationship gives you, well, intimacy. Good health is your physical foundation. When these pillars get shaky or go missing, we are way more likely to feel overwhelmed by chaos. So building these up even slowly creates the stability that your life can actually rest on. This quote from Jesse James West just cuts right to the heart of it all. This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about what you could call radical responsibility. The hard truth is, no one is coming to save you. Not because people don't care, but because you are the only one who can actually pilot your own life. The moment you realize that this boat is yours to carry is the moment you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the agent of your own rescue. So, where does all of this leave us? Well, it leaves us with a clear path forward. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it is straightforward. It all starts with understanding what you're up against, choosing your strategy, and then, and this is the most important part, taking that very first step. So, let's just recap the big takeaways here. First, know your enemy. Depression is a liar. Second, use the secret weapon. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Third, trust the process. Those small, repeated gains build up an unbelievable amount of momentum. And finally, build your foundation. Create those life structures that are going to support you for the long haul. And that brings us to the final, and really the most important question of all. This isn't about fixing everything tomorrow. It's not about some big dramatic gesture. Looking at everything we've just talked about, what is one tiny, 1-minute step that you have the power to take right now, today?